Trading is closed on the 23rd of May, 2023. We'll do our disclaimer, go over our calls, and make some predictions. This is my trading plan for Wednesday, which is the 24th of May, 2023. Remember, I can be completely wrong. All trades should be at your own risk. Also, remember, I have personal business. During the week, I'm not having as much time as I'd like to have to do my analysis. Look for the pattern with the early low, which is this. Tomorrow should have the early high. We had a higher target, 42.0734. We said unless we gapped down smartly, that was the call. We gapped down smartly, so there was no call. This is just to review what we said. Unless we gap down smartly, the rules say it should print. Now, we did say... Well, let's just go on to the MEJT signals. We'll come back to that. Early on, we got an ultimate buy signal. This is the minimum. We traded over that here. You don't have to, but you almost always will. And that's all the signal has to deliver. MEJT says now this drop is false. We're going to trade over this line. Gives us a target of 41.7365. Unless we gap down smartly, that's my call for tomorrow. Now this looks pretty ugly, but let's remember after dropping all day, the last couple hours didn't accomplish anything because we couldn't close under either of these lows. Now I don't know if that's going to be maintained or not, but if it is maintained, it's a positive pattern to go along with the higher MEJT target. Here's a daily chart. The 20-period moving average is midway between your Bollinger Bands, and this white line is a Tom DeMark's TDST line. Those offer support of some sort. Here's a weekly chart. Now, it's quite disappointing to me that we traded under this 89-week moving average, which tends to separate bull from bear markets, but it's a weekly chart, and the week's not over. And if we manage to close over that line, I'm going to be a forgiving person. If we don't, I'm going to wonder if the analysis has to be redone. That's a pretty important line for me. Well, here's your daily chart. The idea is we made a leading diagonal triangle, and we're going to make an ABC. This would be wave A, this would be wave B, and at some point you want to find wave C. Now we stopped right at this significant trend line. Not the best trend line in the world, but it's not the worst, so there is some support from that. And you'd like this consolidation, which I'm calling a major consolidation, wave 2, even though it could be just A of 2. You'd like it to be longer, at least, than the consolidations of lesser degree which preceded it. So, if that's the length of this consolidation, the duration, it's clearly longer than wave B. And it's clearly longer than wave D, so we have that. You'd also like to have some kind of Fibonacci relationship between C and A. Well, this may not be the only way to count it, but your April high could be an ABC. 8866 is an unusual fib ratio, but it is one. If that's A, you can have an ABC with C equal to A, and that's ABC, and C is equal to twice A. And if you look at this wave C, it's exactly half of wave A. So it's not the only valid count. There's no reason we can't just go on and have C equal to A, but it's a valid count, which would justify an end to wave C right here. If you look at the daily chart, here's your 50 period moving average, here's your 200 period moving average. You're moving to new highs over rising moving averages. That's the hallmark of a bull market. There's also a date today which is significant in somebody else's work. I'll have to tell you the stuff he does doesn't always work, but he's had some amazing hits in the past, even though every date hasn't been hit. Well, tomorrow's pattern has a early high. We could still gap down. Typically, it's a rally day with a high in the final hour. Failure is a straight line drop. There's a higher MEJT target. Unless we gap down smartly, the rules call for it to print. The day-long drop couldn't manage a close under midday lows, and if this is maintained in tomorrow's early trade, we should trade higher regardless of how we close. Today is a timing hit for a change in trend based on someone else's work, and there's wave balance at the low of day. Bears need to undercut the low of day promptly if they're to continue today's decline. And if we move sharply higher right from the open, there's a good chance we've completed an ABC consolidation. Now, it could be the end of wave 2 or wave A of wave 2. But all this negativity doesn't mean a thing to me if it isn't maintained at the open, or at least confirmed by trading 1 cent under today's close. So if we gap up tomorrow and don't close that gap, this drop doesn't count as far as I'm concerned. We have wave balance and timing and a higher MEJT target here, plus this target. I don't know how we're going to open tomorrow. The bottom could fall out for all I know. But if we gap up smartly and keep going up, this is a good candidate for at least a short-term low, and possibly more than that. So we'll have to see how we open. We have a higher target. We don't gap down, that's my call. But this could have completed an ABC. And if it does complete an ABC, we could be sharply higher before very long. And that's today's call.